Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we got reasons to move to the UK. Why I left the USA for UK, and this is a post from Seeking Solved Adventures. Original link will be in the description. With that being said, we're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking. I'm feeling a lot better from the allergy recovery, today. Way better than yesterday, that's for sure. But we're going to go ahead and hop right into this. Here we go.
Hey there, I'm Lisa. My story involves leaving my home country of the United States not once but twice, and I've been in England for over 20 years now. I really have no regrets. But first, some context. I can see the interest in leaving rising. So in this video, I'm going to share my answers to the questions I get asked all the time, mostly by Brits. Why did I leave? Why did I choose England? And would I be going back?
Let me say 20 years, she going to have some experience right there. She definitely worth listening to. I'm happy I chose this video to react to.
What are these reasons? There are a few aspects of US culture that aren't for me. First one, carrying guns. I grew up in a rural area, so I understand there is a need with situations involving livestock or wild animals, but it's the intent to shoot human beings that I just don't understand. So, moving on. I was
Let's stop there for a second, because for most Americans, she would have lost most of them right there, because Americans love their guns. But I seriously respect that. I really do. I respect the nature of what she's saying. There's so much, obviously, reckless shootings, violent shootings, senseless shootings that, I mean, are all over America. You can look one up. I'm sure one just happened. Like, they always happen so much. So the statistics speak for itself on there. There's definitely a huge problem with people psychologically. Definitely ego driven when it comes to those guns. So let me just sit here and say I really respect her opinion there, and I salute it.
really fearful of the US healthcare system. I was fearful of the cost and the complexity. I was also really fearful of the fact that my healthcare was tied to my job, because in my 20s I had a situation where I had to go to the emergency room and I found out that I wasn't covered on insurance. It was awful and it took me years to pay it off. I can't face that again. Here in England, you just rock up to one of your local surgeries and register, and then after that, you can just make an appointment. This is kind of a weird one, but before I knew I was autistic and had ADHD, I couldn't quite figure out who I was. The gold standard of a personality is very perky and upbeat, and like, I'm a happy person. I just have resting bitch face. And in England, I could just not worry about that sort of thing. I felt like I was myself and it wasn't a big deal. The other major one is that there's this dependency on a car in the United States. Like, I've always struggled with driving. My friends were making fun of my slow reflexes, but I know now it's because of dyspraxia, which is very common in people who are neurodivergent. So there's that. Another reason was that I was just simply bored of
What she just said, about being dependent on a vehicle. I think about that more than often, honestly. Like, what would people do if it came a time where they had to live without their vehicles, with their cars? I feel like the society we live in now has become so dependent on cars for transportation, that they got really lazy. People are so used to drive-throughs and being able to just drive anywhere, instead of where I live right now. A lot of people don't even walk like that, to be honest with you. They kind of look at me in surprise when they see me walking. It's not too many walkers. Back in New York, a lot of walkers, but out here in Pennsylvania, where I live, personally, not many walkers like that. They really do look at you kind of like, yeah, it's strange almost, right? So people need to learn how to be dependent on their legs again, their body. They need to. They need to, because if a catastrophic event was to happen and you couldn't get in your car, uh, I mean, majority of people would just die off. I'm gonna say it there. There's too many people that's just too addicted to like opioids and things like that, and they don't know how to survive in nature. And I mean, I would even have issues, and I'm pretty healthy, but I would even have issues with my allergies, It's still a lot. I would love to learn and grow and just grow as far as having that knowledge to be able to survive without being dependent on certain things.
Of the California weather. It was sunny a lot. I know I don't quite believe that now, but that's how I felt at the time. The question I get asked the most is, how did I end up in England? And the answer is pretty straightforward. I was living in California. I was keen to leave California, and I met someone. We decided to get married. And because he was an EU citizen, it was going to be easier to move to the UK than anywhere else in the United States. So we did. Usually the next question is that, well, why England? Well, okay, I have some good reasons. Depending on who's asking, I might not give them all of the reasons, but I'll give them to you. First of all, I was an Anglophile. Ever since I was a preteen, I went into that mad horse phase, and I was fortunate enough I did get to ride, but I was living in Western United States, which is primarily Western style of riding, and I was obsessed with English style riding. I think a lot
Well, that's something you don't hear every day. This is a very interesting person. That is something you do not hear every day.
of that influence was due to the fact that I was reading books that were set either in England or on the East Coast. And I guess I was just drawn to that. I was fortunate enough to visit the UK a few times before I made the decision to live there. So, or here, I'm here now. And so it just, that made it easier. I love the UK culture. I love the pubs. I love the history. I love that in England you're allowed to look average. They even let people on TV, women, they let women on TV who don't meet this like impossible beauty standard.
Got to give a round of applause for that because we all know how it is in Hollywood and the standards that they've set for generations. Obviously now you see a lot more diversity. Uh, I can't deny that now you see it, but for so long it was a certain look, and a lot of would specifically women would always want to look younger and skinny because I know there's like a certain age, just even within film out here in the states where it's like, yeah, a lot of people lie about their age, things like that. So, I believe in showing the beauty of everybody, all different ages and different body types. It's like people think you're supposed to look one way, but if you go to, let's say, the Polynesian islands, let's say Samoans, right? They're naturally like big boned and they eat healthy on them islands, but they're naturally, and they a lot of different tribes will tell you that's like a blessing from the gods. Like they be strong, strong people, but they naturally like big boned. Like I feel like they try to get rid of that just to look a certain way and fit this certain criteria, this requirement is insane, is insanity. And this is why people go crazy because the environments be crazy. The environments be sick. So they therefore get sick psychologically. So make sure you're in a very healthy environment that loves you for who you are.
Exist, and it's not a big deal. It really annoys me when Americans make fun of the bad British teeth. It's not that the teeth are bad, their teeth are healthy here. They're just not straight. It's just not important to spend tons of money to straighten teeth. That attitude is slowly shifting.
I gotta say, so I don't got the straightest tooth right here. So hey, shout out to England once again. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to the whole UK once again because I don't got the straightest teeth at all.
I see more people with the Invisalign or having teeth whitening done, but it's certainly not something that we're all aiming for. Another major reason I chose the UK, I get paid vacation to the tune of 25 days a year as an average full-time employee, which is pretty incredible. And if any Americans ask, I can always just offer that as a reason. I can spend more time on vacation in your country than you can. The other one, of course, is the travel opportunities. England is really close to Europe, and in fact, London is very well connected. It's just pretty easy to get around. In fact, the first couple of years I was in England, I was probably traveling every couple months, doing a long weekend here and there in various European capital cities, which was really good fun. The reason I moved back to the US after 10 years in England was that 8 out of 9 summers were really disappointing. I'm talking chilly, damp, gray. However, I can confidently say that's no longer the case thanks to climate change. It's definitely hotter during summer here, and so much so that it's tricky. It's almost dangerous because a lot of homes don't have air conditioning, and the houses and buildings are constructed to retain heat, so it becomes pretty unpleasant. But anyway, we're dealing with it. I just didn't feel like I was going to be able to have a good quality of life, and I couldn't have a cat when I was renting. So, and I was missing the UK culture. I was missing the sense of humor, that feeling of safety. There's no gun. People don't carry guns here. Obviously, farmers have guns for very specific reasons, but or you could do sport shooting or something like that. But there's not this culture of carrying a gun around. If you've lived abroad, or if you're considering living abroad, which of my reasons for leaving resonate most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments. Then I get asked if I'm moving back. Actually, my family used to ask when I was moving back all the time, but they've stopped now. After 15 years, they finally stopped. And the answer is that no.
To answer to answer her question real quick, the whole transportation not being so dependent on a car, that'd be my main reason for sure.
Oh, I probably won't move back. I'm really settled here. I won't move back for all the reasons I mentioned. I don't have any regrets other than maybe I should have been more organized around taxes. I'm pretty happy with the fact that the public transportation here is pretty good. It's not amazing. It can be disorganized, but I just love the fact that I don't have to drive here. I can drive in other places that have wider roads. Hello, USA. But here the roads are pretty narrow, and it's just not something I can do just yet. I mean, I haven't totally given up. I've taken driving lessons, but hey. I do think it's sad how divided the US has become, and I think it's really sad how people reject facts and science because it doesn't align with their worldviews. I'm pretty disappointed in this version of the United States. My overall message to you is if you want to move abroad or slow travel abroad, I say go for it. Definitely go visit the place ahead of time if you can. I've seen this pattern with other expats when they leave the United States. They expect the place they're going to be very similar to the United States, and it's really not. There's going to be things that are slower. There's going to be less focus on customer service. That's just a fact, unless you're on a cruise ship. I don't want to minimize the difficulty of moving to and from countries. It's a lot physically, mentally, and emotionally. There's a lot of guilt when it comes to leaving friends and family behind. And of course, the difficulty comes is when you're quite far away and you have, say, limited time off to explore. You don't necessarily want to be spending all of your time going back to the US.
I love how wherever she's at right now, it just looks like she's the only one there, which was perfect for her pulling out her phone and shooting a video. I feel like in America, anywhere I go, it always feels like somebody's just staring at me. Sometimes as if I'm doing something wrong too. Like, you go to the park and you see a nice, let's say, diner or something by the park or something that's closed down, and you just kind of, it's like people are just always coming out of nowhere just staring, and it's a lot of nosiness. People start asking questions, people think you're up to something, and it can get real sketchy in America. Not to say it can't get sketchy anywhere else, but from my personal experiences growing up here, like, it just, that freedom feel don't really be, given freedom too much. Even, obviously, if you're in a place like New York City, somewhere where, Times Square, where everyone's pulling out a camera, it's a little different, but to go somewhere where it's just kind of you, and you just want to, people let us stare out here. People let it be real nosy.
Yes. The easiest way to move abroad is if you're just going to do slow travel and stay as long as you want within a country up to the allowance of the visitor visa. Otherwise, becoming a student is a very valid way to get residency in a country. So there's choices. It's just really going to depend on your individual circumstances and where you want to go. For me personally, I've been slow traveling for nearly 2 years now, and it's going great. I do a lot of house sitting. I'm a fully fledged cat lady, and that's primarily how I can afford this lifestyle. If you're still watching, I'd love it if you'd hit like and subscribe to help.
I do house sitting too, pet sitting. So I understand.
My channel grow. I appreciate it. YouTube thinks you should watch this one next.
So guys, one thing that she said that I felt like I needed to speak on was when she talked about that guilt for, excuse me, for leaving friends and family behind. I see that that stops most people from really living their life, and I just feel like when you hit a certain age, when you're older, and you're towards the ending cycles of your life, I feel like I feel like that's when people start getting those regrets. You start to think, you know what, maybe I should have. Especially the way time flies. I mean, 2020 feels like a blink of an eye ago, and that's already like 5 years ago. Like that's crazy. We're already getting towards the 2026. I mean, time just flies, and then you sit back and you're like, imagine if you would have went to Japan or something for 2020 2 and 3. Like it would already been the past. You get what I'm saying? Like time flies, and I see a lot of people do get guilt tripped. A lot of people do feel like guilt for living their life. One of my clients that I pet sit, her best friends their whole life. They're in their 70s. Her best friend is on an ending. Um, she's on hospice, and she's hanging on by a thread. Any day now she'll be leaving the planet, and she stuck by her. I mean, like they call each other sisters, and when we're at that point in our life, when we're hanging on by a thread, and it's time, and it's about to be that time for us to go. All that really matters is the experiences that we had. All we're gonna think about is the moments that we had. And I'm not saying get up and leave your family and friends, but you still want to make sure that you're doing what you got to do for you too, and that your life is fulfilling and satisfying, right? So, with that being said, this was an amazing video. Once again, original link in the description. Definitely go check out her channel and subscribe to it. Awesome video, a lot of great information, and I definitely enjoy her personality. She's a different type of person, very interesting, and she has a lot to learn from, for sure. And I like to learn. So, with that being said, I'll be back with more soon. If you enjoyed this reaction, definitely don't hesitate to hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Much love. And I tell you, I'm feeling so... If you look at my video, my reaction from yesterday to today, it's like day and night. My allergies were eating me alive yesterday. I feel so much better now, guys.